icons expect the unexpected because you're gonna be gagged, you're not ready.
When KATSEYE debuted, nobody expected much. But in just 2 years, they became one of the most talked about girl groups in the world. HYBE was the company behind BTS. Geffen Records was one of the most powerful labels in America. In 2021, the two companies came together with a simple idea. What if they used the K-pop training system to build a group for the whole world? Not a K-pop group, not a Western pop group, something in between. They opened auditions across the globe in November 2021. Thousands applied. From that massive pool, 20 young women were chosen. They moved to Los Angeles and began training. At first, it felt like preparation for a debut. What they did not know was that they were also preparing to compete. The trainees came from different parts of the world. Sophia from Manila had grown up around musical theater. Lara from Los Angeles wanted to see girls like her represented on stage. Daniela from Atlanta had spent most of her life dancing. Megan from Honolulu had years of dance and modeling experience. Manon from Zurich had already started writing songs as a teenager. And Yoonchae from Seoul, already familiar with the Korean trainee system. Different backgrounds, different cultures, but they were all chasing the same thing. For months, they trained together in Los Angeles under the same system used to prepare many K-pop idols. Vocal lessons, dance practice, performance evaluations, long days that slowly turned a group of strangers into friends. Then, in August 2023, everything changed. HYBE and Geffen revealed that the trainees would compete on a survival show called the Debut Dream Academy. The show would stream online, and fans would help decide the final lineup. The girls who had been training together were now competing for just 6 spots. The show ran for 12 weeks. Each round brought new performances and new eliminations. Some trainees left, the rest kept pushing forward. Then came the final night. 10 trainees stood on a stage in Los Angeles. It was time.
Now, one more time, can you guys make some noise for KATSEYE?
The others hugged them backstage before leaving. Director Nadia Hallgren, who filmed the process for a later documentary, said she stayed with the 4 who did not make it. That was where the emotions were hardest to watch. The group now had a name and 6 members. But outside the survival show, almost nobody knew what KATSEYE was yet. The 28th of June 2024, KATSEYE released their first single, Debut. The music video was filmed in Medellin, Colombia. The song felt bright and confident, a clean introduction to the group. A month later, they released This one sounded different, a softer rhythm, a more layered sound. The music video followed the 6 members searching for Yoonchae across the city, each carrying a dream charm connected to their character. These charms quickly became part of the group's early identity. Fans began picking favorites, sharing theories, and connecting the symbols to each member. But at first, the release stayed quiet. The songs were out there. People were listening. But the moment just had not fully arrived yet. But KATSEYE kept moving forward. They performed at KCON. They appeared on Good Morning America. More audiences were starting to see them. Then, in August, something else arrived. Netflix released a documentary series called Pop Star Academy KATSEYE. The show followed the full story behind the group, the training, the competition, the long months that led to the final 6 members. People who had never heard of KATSEYE suddenly knew who they were. And once they did, many of them went looking for the music. That was when Touch started to find its moment. September 2024. The Touch Dance Challenge started spreading across TikTok. People filmed themselves copying the pinky to thumb gesture and the chorus routine. Soon the videos were everywhere. Fans from different scenes joined in. K-pop groups posted their own versions. Other artists picked it up too. Every clip led back to the same song. Slowly, the charts began to react. Touch started appearing in different countries. More listeners were finding it week by week. At the same time, the group's first EP, Sis, short for Soft is Strong, had arrived earlier in August. It entered the Billboard 200 and introduced KATSEYE to a much wider audience. As the year continued, KATSEYE started appearing on bigger stages. They performed at the Mama Awards when the ceremony came to the United States. They also joined the iHeartRadio Jingle Ball Tour. By the end of the year, the group had something real building around them. A growing audience, a growing fan base, and people were starting to look at KATSEYE differently. They were no longer seen as an experiment. 2025 began with KATSEYE already appearing on major festival lineups. The group that had debuted less than a year earlier was now sharing space with some of the biggest names in pop.
They could describe everything with one single word. You know?
Then on April 30, they released. The reaction was immediate. The song sounded loud, chaotic, and strange compared to what many people expected from a pop girl group. Some listeners loved it, but some criticized it badly. But the song still reached the Billboard Hot 100, their first appearance on the chart. Later, Lara joked about the reaction in an interview. She said the song felt unusual for pop music and that the group liked making things that surprised people. A few weeks later, they returned with Gabriela. Gabriela was the opposite of Gnarly in almost every way. This one felt warmer and more dramatic, built around a Latin-inspired style. The music video leaned fully into the story, with the members competing against each other inside a telenovela-style world led by actress Jessica Alba. The song quickly became their biggest hit yet. Soon after, the EP Beautiful Chaos arrived. It introduced the group to an even larger audience and marked their first appearance in the top tier of the Billboard album chart. That summer brought one of their biggest stages so far. In August, KATSEYE performed at Lollapalooza, Chicago. A massive daytime crowd gathered as the group stepped onto the stage. During the set, Lara paused after performing Gabriela and told the audience it was the first time they had ever performed the song live. The crowd exploded. The schedule that followed was heavy. Shows across different countries, back to back. At one point, some members fell ill, and it forced them to cancel a festival appearance, and another performance had to go on without a full lineup. It was a reminder of how demanding a global schedule could be. Later that year, KATSEYE appeared in a campaign for Gap, dancing to Kellis's Milkshake in a simple denim concept that fans had started recognizing as part of the group's look. The video spread everywhere online. Within days, it had reached hundreds of millions of views. Then in November, the Beautiful Chaos Tour began. The shows sold out across North America. During the tour, the group debuted Internet Girl live for the first time. Clips from the performances spread quickly online. Even without an official release, people were already talking about the song. The track was later released as a standalone single in January 2026. By the end of the year, KATSEYE had built something real. Their music was everywhere online. Their concerts were full. Their name kept appearing in conversations about the future of pop. September 2025, the MTV Video Music Awards. KATSEYE performed on the VMA stage and won Push Performance of the Year for Touch. But the moment many people remembered came during the acceptance speech. Sophia stepped up to the microphone and thanked the crowd. Then she switched languages, speaking in Tagalog, her mother tongue, speaking directly to viewers around the world. Moments like that are still rare on Western award stages. For years, Asian artists have often felt pressure to present themselves in perfect English. Hearing Sophia speak in her own language on that stage made the moment land differently. A couple of months later, another surprise arrived. November 2025, the Grammy nominations were announced. Best New Artist and Best Group Performance for Gabriela. For the members, it felt hard to believe. Not long ago, they had been trainees competing for a spot in a lineup. Now they were being recognized at one of the biggest award shows in music. Sophia said she felt proud to represent her heritage. Yoonchae, who had started her path inside the Korean trainee system, now found herself standing in a completely different world. Meanwhile, the Beautiful Chaos Tour was still moving across North America, night after night. The venues filled with icons singing along to every lyric and copying every move from the choreography. Then, in February 2026, KATSEYE stepped onto another stage, the Grammy Awards in Los Angeles. Around the same time, Manon announced that she would take a temporary hiatus to focus on her health. The group addressed it openly with fans, and the response from the fandom was full of support. As the North American tour came to an end, the next chapter was already forming. More shows were planned, South America was on the schedule, and in April, something the members had talked about long before was finally written onto the calendar. Coachella. Both weekends. What once sounded like a dream were now simply the next dates on the list. KATSEYE's story reminds people of something the music world sometimes forgets. Before them, projects like this had come and gone. Reality show groups, global experiments, acts built quickly and forgotten just as fast. So, when KATSEYE first appeared, not many people knew what to expect. 6 girls from all around the world. Their music sat somewhere between K-pop and Western pop. Their fan base stretched across continents, and slowly, step by step, the audience around them kept growing. The charts followed, the festivals followed, even the Grammys came, and their story is still unfolding. But one thing is already clear. KATSEYE was the group nobody expected, and somehow, exactly the one people were waiting for.